Hi, Gemini and Gemini Rising. Here's your horoscope for December 2024. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. Okay, here we're at the end of the year, and it's going to be a bit of a slowdown, and we're going to be revisiting a lot of issues. And this has a lot to do with your ruler being retrograde right there. We start off the month with Mercury in retrograde, and then, of course, on the 6th, we're going to have Mars going retrograde. So between these two, it's all about the past. It's slowing us down and having us question everything. So this reading is for anyone who has a sun sign in Gemini or a rising sign in Gemini. This is a very general sun sign reading in Western astrology using the tropical whole house system. Again, your own birth chart will be much more accurate. But again, I'm giving you a bit of a general overview of what's going on and the things you should look out for, okay? So we start off the month. Pluto is now in this 9th house of higher learning and philosophy. Venus will also join it this month as well. We've got Jupiter in Gemini reversed in retrograde, and we start off the month, as you can see here, with Mercury and the transiting moon also in a tricky position to Jupiter. So you're really questioning everything. Your mind is super active, and you're like, what am I going to do? Or where am I going? What's happening? You know, those are the questions that we're going to be all asking. Because as I said at the beginning of the year, there seems to be some sort of slowdown, and we're all scratching our heads trying to figure out what the heck is happening. Okay, so we had a big election in November, and many changes are going to be thrust upon us in the United States. And we'll continue to see those changes around the world as well because of this Pluto right here in Aquarius, the sign of humanity. But next year, we have 3 other planets that are going to switch signs. Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus will all switch signs as well. So there's big changes on the horizon for next year. But this month is cleaning up the past, revisiting the past, and taking care of business from the past. That's what we're working on and going into the new year. Now, I'm going to cover that Mars retrograde in a minute, but we also start off the month with a new moon in Sagittarius. By the way, there are 2 new moons this month, and I will cover that later. But the first new moon is right here in the 7th house. It's going to be at 9 degrees of Sagittarius, so wherever that is in your actual birth chart, that's the area that gets lit up. Here it has to do with partnerships, relationships. And since Mercury is retrograde at this time, it's about the past. So it's about connecting with people from the past, situations from the past, acquaintances from the past. Anyone from the past is going to continue to resurface in your life beginning in December. And that theme will continue for a while. Not just when Mercury goes out of retrograde, but also because Mars goes into retrograde. Okay, so this is going to give you opportunities to connect with a lot of people. So there's a lot of socializing here, but it'll be from the past. Now, Mars goes retrograde in Leo on the 6th. It's been slowing down at the end of November, now at the beginning of December. So Mars going retrograde in Leo. In the 3rd house, it's the 3rd house of communication, ideas. It will slow your mind down a little bit more where you're revisiting the past, okay? So this is about ideas from the past, creativity from the past. The mojo will slow down a little bit. It'll slow down for everybody because Mars is the sign of motivation. And when Mars goes retrograde, it's like, we're slowing down, like we're driving 65 miles an hour. All of a sudden, we're slowing down to 50 miles an hour. And then we're going to 45 miles an hour. That's what it kind of feels like when Mars goes retrograde. We're at the high pace speed. All of a sudden, we're going backwards. And so this is the kind of energy. So anything to do with creativity, communication, ideas, stuff from the past that you always thought about doing or wanting to know more about, this is all going to be on the table. Now, Mars, I believe, is going to be retrograde all the way through January into February. It comes out of retrograde, I believe, towards the end of February. And then it has to pick up speed for a couple of weeks as it makes its way direct. So it's going to be, quite interesting to have this Mars retrograde. Everyone's going to feel it. Okay, so it's going to be a little tricky. So we'll have to deal with that as well. All right. So Venus enters Aquarius on the 7th. Now, the 7th is another interesting dynamic day because look at Venus here at 0 degrees of Aquarius, which is favorable for a Gemini or Gemini rising. But look at this. It runs right into Pluto. They're both at 0 degrees. And so something about your belief system, your ideology, your understanding of higher purpose, the source, the bigger meaning of life, you may be in for some surprises. And that's because of this alignment with Venus smacking right into Pluto. But then also within the next week or so, I would say the second week of December, Venus begins to oppose Mars. So there could be some very uncomfortable conversations about beliefs, religion, the purpose of life, where you're going, politics, all this stuff could be on the table big time. Okay? So humanity is in for a lot of surprises with all of these alignments that are occurring, as I've been trying to point out for now a number of years, for those of you who've been following me. Okay? So it's going to be tricky, but for the most part, it's in the 9th house, so we tend to be a little bit more optimistic when we have planets in the 9th house, especially like Venus. Venus likes to enjoy herself. In Aquarius, it likes to enjoy herself in an unusual way, being around groups and organizations or people that are different or strange. This could be the theme here. But remember, Pluto is going to be in this 9th house for the next 19 years, really transforming your belief system and how you view society and the world at large and humanity and technology. These will be the themes here with Pluto there. So it's going to be huge. Now, Neptune goes direct as well on the 7th later on. Not a big deal because it's a slow outer moving planet, but here it is in the 10th house of career and status. So over the course of the next couple of months, it will continue to move direct, helping you with imagination, creativity, intuition. So let's not forget that. Saturn's already out of retrograde. So you're feeling like you want to share more wisdom. Maybe you're leaning towards more religion in your life. Maybe you're trying to understand things at a very deeper level. This is all the theme here with these planets coming out of retrograde, Neptune and Saturn. So there's a lot going on there. Now, unfortunately, or fortunately, however you want to see it, the full moon this month is going to be in Gemini on the 14th into the 15th, right there. And it's going to be at, I believe, 23 degrees of Gemini, opposing the sun. So whatever you have in 23 degrees of Gemini, that's going to be affected. Now, this one's going to be tricky because it's in your first house of identity and self, and it will be squaring Neptune right there. So there's a lot of confusion in the mix with a career or a relationship and your connection to that relationship or that business or that job. So you'll be questioning all of that. Okay, that's going to be on the table with this full moon, coming to some sort of realization about something, maybe needing to change, needing to end, transform in some way. That is all on the table this month. Now, fortunately, on the 15th, Mercury goes direct in Sagittarius. There it is in stationary position in your 7th house of relationships. And so here we have, again, this idea of relationships clearing up or getting some misunderstandings cleared up. Everything to do with relationships is really being highlighted this month because of Venus, because of Mercury also, and because of the full moon right there, and of course Mars in the 3rd house. So misunderstandings, confusion can begin to clear up slowly as Mercury makes its way direct in your 7th house. Now, the sun enters Capricorn on the 21st, which is kind of normal, entering your 8th house of shared resources, sexuality. This has to do with the deepest psychological side of life. And so you're thinking about money more, or you're focusing on the new year and what you want to do and what you want to accomplish. So the sun making its way through the 8th house is important. But here is that second new moon that's going to occur, which is also considered a black moon because we cannot see it. The sun is very low on the horizon, so we cannot see the sun and the moon as they join up. So it's considered a black moon. And it's in the 8th house. So there's some form of transformation on the table here, either having to do with your finances, your business, your job, your sense of purpose, your direction. And again, because Mars is retrograde, you got to be careful, and Jupiter's retrograde in your 1st house, you may be in this, like, what am I doing? Where am I going kind of mindset? And you're going to be going deep within your own psyche, trying to figure it out with this new moon. So the first new moon was about relationships and relationships from the past. The second one is about this inner dynamics that's taking place here that you will need to focus on a little bit more, especially having to do with work or financial matters or investments in some way, because this is the 8th house and it falls under that umbrella. Sexuality does fall under this umbrella as well, but that's something else altogether. But I'm going to just lean towards financial matters and lean towards some sort of change to your business, your job, maybe even your status. And so this is going to be looming big. Now, this could also be something to do with politics. We had a big election in November, new administration, and there could be some major changes to, that they may be bringing forth in January. So we'll have to see how that plays itself out as well. Okay. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you want to learn more about this, or if you want to view the extended version of this horoscope, consider joining my inner circle. I left the link down below. And each month, I do extended horoscopes, but also do weekly horoscopes in the community. And now I'm doing remote viewing. We're doing teaching remote viewing. I'm doing all these things here that you see on the screen. And there's also a 7-day trial, so there's no obligation. And so I think you might enjoy it. There's a lot of other people in there, and each week we get on the Zoom calls and we discuss everything from your birth charts to politics to what's going on in the world and so on. So I think you might be interested. Anyway, enjoy your month and have a great new year, and I will talk to you guys soon. Bye for now.